Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Sport Optics Studio. I am one half of your favorite host, Jace.
And I'm the other 50%, Sean.
And today we are going to talk to you about a riveting topic that is just sweeping the optics industry these days, and that is the MOA versus mill debate.
Yes, the great debate. You know, people fight to the death over this in the comments of every video, and as every other gun video in the world, the answer is, it depends. Just kidding, you should go with mill. It doesn't really matter, in all honesty, but we're going to tell you a little bit why we think one is better than the other and tell you why you might want one over the other.
Yeah, at the end of the day, in layman's terms, it essentially just comes down to two different units of measurement, and that's really it. But there are some subtle differences, there are some pros and cons, and we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of it just so you can make the best, most informed decision.
So kicking it off, I guess we'll start with mill since that is superior. Advantages of Milliradian. That's what mill stands for, Milliradian. It's an angular measurement, as is minute of angle. So why I prefer mill is there's less digits that you have to deal with. You can stay within typically one digit, up to 9.9 mils and still be within 1,000 yards of most caliber of your weapon. So you can forego having all those excess numbers, because an MOA, if you're dialing, instead of dialing 10 mils, you're dialing, I can't do the conversion in my head, but it's going to be 2 digits, and then there's going to be a decimal, and then there's going to be 2 more digits. So now you're dealing with 4 digits when you could be dealing with 2. So there's an advantage right there.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what Sean said in our opinion and in many people's opinions. Doing the math on the fly in mils just tends to be a little easier. Mils is measured in tenths, whereas MOAs is measured in quarters. So doing maths of, essentially whole digit versus fractions tends to be a little easier for me on the fly.
So I would say the main reason why mils is preferential to a lot of people over minute of angle is that it's the metric system, and metric is everything is 10 base. So you have 100 centimeters in a meter, and everything that goes along with that, 1,000 millimeters in a meter. Everything is easy to do math-wise. So when you're communicating with your spotter, it's a lot easier to deal with those kind of digits than it would be to do all the conversions of minute of angle, where each click is 1/4 of an inch at 100 yards instead of being 1 centimeter at 100 meters. So you can see how things can get kind of tough once you start going out to distance.
Yeah, and some of the argument that I do hear sometimes, which I suppose is understandable, is that MOA technically is a finer unit of adjustment, meaning one click on an MOA turret is a smaller adjustment, smaller movement than on a mill turret, which could possibly translate into it being more precise. So yes, in theory, that's cool if you're trying to be the absolute most precise possible, I guess. But in all actuality, in practice, that difference is so negligible that it really doesn't translate to much of anything.
Yeah, and they have specialty scopes that are designed for people who are really looking to do that. Like they have 1/8 MOA adjustment scopes, which are not popular at all. We don't sell too many of them. We have people who do buy them. Mostly it's the bench rest shooters who are going to be shooting the things that are very, very close. A lot of 22 guys are shooting 1/8 MOA scopes. But for general people who aren't doing that, mill is going to be what you want to go with. But it kind of really just depends on what your buddies are doing. Because if every one of your buddies are shooting MOA and they're well-versed in MOA, and you watch this video and you're like, you know what, I'm going to get a mill, your buddies aren't going to like that. They're not going to want to shoot with you. So it's probably best to stick with whatever your buddies are shooting, whether it be MOA or mill.
Yeah, I think that is an excellent point. For anybody that contacts us and asks us, hey, I'm just getting into the sport, I'm shooting by myself or whatever, which one do you prefer? We're pretty much always going to tell somebody, we'll give them the pros and cons, obviously let them make the decision at the end of the day, but generally we're going to try to push them towards mills a little bit. But if they're like, hey, I'm shooting with a group of guys, a squad, a buddy or whatever, they have MOA, you know, it's tough, because when you are around people that are familiar with one specific unit, you know, it makes a lot of sense to kind of stick with that and go with what you know.
Yeah, they're going to be calling your shots, so you all need to be speaking the same language.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as the reticles themselves in the scopes, in all the different reticles you see, let's call them the intelligent reticles, the reticles that actually have hash marks for elevation, wind holds, has the Christmas tree type thing, you're pretty much going to be able to find just about any of those reticles in both. Most manufacturers, Vortex, Nightforce, insert any other one, Zero Compromise, Tangent Theta, Kahles, you know, so on and so forth, they're all going to have options in both MOA or MRAD.
I'm sure Jace would agree with me, but when you're looking at a Milliradian reticle as opposed to a minute of angle reticle, the Milliradian reticle is a lot less cluttered as well in comparison to the MOA reticle.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with that.
So we have two of Nightforce's reticles here, the MOA XT and the Mill XT. And as you can see, the MOA XT goes all the way down to 32 minutes of angle, and the Mill XT goes down to 10 Milliradians. So a lot less numbers you have to deal with, a lot less clutter you have to look at, and just easier communication between the spotter and the shooter.
Very well said. I think the MOA and Mill XT reticles from Nightforce are both perfect examples demonstrating the differences, because not only is that one of the best reticles out there because it does so much while still keeping it relatively simple, also the difference between the MOA and Mill XT is essentially nothing besides the actual, you know, representation of the numbers and stuff. So beyond that, one thing that I do think is worth mentioning, because it does come up from time to time, and that is when you're dealing with just the plain Jane hunting scopes with just the average, you know, standard Plex crosshairs. It doesn't matter what's MOA or Mill, right? Because it's just a crosshair. You're not doing any kind of holdovers or anything. And that is mostly true, but sometimes you will run into situations, depending on the manufacturer, like European manufacturers, for instance, on like the Z6, the Z8, the Zeiss V8, the click measurements, even though might be a cap turret that you're not doing any kind of dialing or holding on, you'll notice that on the turret, when you go to zero it in, it's measured in centimeters. You'll see like one click is 1 centimeter or something like that. Whereas most of your, you know, Leupolds or whatever average hunting scopes are still going to be, you know, quarter MOA adjustments. Some are going to be in centimeter adjustments. So it's technically mils, but not really. You're adjusting, you know, 1 centimeter per 100 meters, just like you would on a standard Millirad scope like this. But at the end of the day, once you get it zeroed, doesn't matter.
Yeah, we do get some calls about people who are concerned about that, and it's good that you brought that up.
Well, I think we covered just about everything. Is there anything else you can think of offhand?
Just that Mill turrets look a lot less cluttered than MOA turrets. I mean, you can see the double turn here. You got your first revolution, which goes up to 10, then your second revolution, which goes up to 20. But if you were to take this scope and have it in MOA, then it's going to be rough to read. There's going to be a lot more numbers on there and a lot more clutter. If that doesn't bother you, rock it. But if it does, rock this.
Yeah, so I hope in our rambling that you have learned something that you can now make a better and more informed decision for yourself. And as always, if you have any questions about mills or MOAs or anything else you can think of optics-wise, please make sure to give us a call. Send us a message, give us a call, shoot us a DM on Instagram, whatever is the easiest way. Get in touch with us, and we are here to make everything easier for you.
And of course, you know, don't forget to like, subscribe, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, what all the cool kids these days are saying on YouTube. And, you know, we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. God bless.